Yeah, so I'll just start. Westport Library and the Quick Center for the Arts is proud to present an official Apple podcast, Oh Brother, Not Another Podcast, with me, Miggs Burrows.
And I'm Trace Burrows. And today we're excited to have on our show a very talented movie director, I'd say producer as well, Kyla Simone Bruce, who's won many awards for her films, shorts, and features. And she's also the daughter of legendary musician Jack Bruce from the Cream and many other bands. Get into, but your middle name Simone. Where does that come from?
My dad's middle name was Simon.
Oh.
So my sister got my mum's middle name, and I got my dad's middle name, and we made it a girl's name. Well, they made it a girl's name.
Right. And your mother, is she creative as well, like you and your sister and Aruba, and maybe I don't know, we'll ask about your other siblings later, but yeah.
She is not by profession. Her first job was actually printing music books. Back in the day before computers and stuff, she had her own little business printing notation basically, and was a graphic designer. And then she basically just taught herself the music business once she was with my dad for various reasons, because she just thought lots of things were unfair at that point when they met. He wasn't getting the recognition for a lot of the stuff that he'd written, and she just didn't understand why. So she just so she's really a businesswoman, and yeah, she's awesome. But she plays the piano a little bit now, and she's creative in her own way. She did write some lyrics for my dad's last album, Silver Rails. The song's called Candlelight, and she wrote it like as a poem, and then my dad loved it so much that he put it to music. So yeah, she is creative, but never, it wasn't her job.
Not in the spotlight. Could you, we interviewed your sister, is your full sister Aruba? I mean, yeah. Could you, for the benefit of the audience and us, give us a brief little family tree construction so we know who's who in Bruce family?
Okay, so me and my sister Aruba Red, and our sibling Corinne have the same mum and dad. She's an amazing artist. She's a singer, songwriter, and does a lot of amazing work with birth work and all sorts of things. She's very busy. And then my sibling Corinne is a philosopher, and a bit of an anarchist. And then my half brother Malcolm, who is my dad's son from my dad's previous marriage, he's an amazing musician as well, an amazing guitarist. He can play all instruments, and yeah, he's incredible. And we had a brother who passed away when he was 28, I think, who was also Malcolm's full brother, Joey. He was also an incredible musician who we unfortunately lost, a while back.
The Silver Rails, that was the name of your documentary about your dad's last album, right?
Yeah.
And so that came from your mother's poem? Is that where you got that?
That was the name of the album, Silver Rails. That was my dad's last album.
Yeah.
That he recorded at Abbey Road. And it just seemed like it's something that needed to be documented, really.
When you were shooting it or about to shoot it, did you know like your dad had some limited time left and you wanted to capture that or?
Yeah, it was interesting because he was really like a cat with 9 lives. Like there was so many times, even before I was born, he nearly died. Like he told us these stories when he got electrocuted on stage once because it was like a music festival and it was raining and all the amps exploded or something and he nearly drowned. And we kind of said bye to him once before when he was really sick. He had like a tracheostomy in his throat and everything. from having an operation and a lot of complications. And he did the Cream reunion, like, I can't remember if it was like less than a year. I'm not sure exactly of the timeline, but yeah, the doctors basically said he would never speak again. And then he sang at the Cream reunion, which was incredible if you've heard it. So the point is that I don't think we, even though he wasn't well, we kind of always thought, you know, there's that chance that he might just bounce back because he was so hardcore. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But if you listen to a lot of the lyrics of those songs carefully, I think he kind of felt it was possibly his last record, which is what I think he didn't say it in so many words, but I think we all kind of knew that there might be a chance that might be the last full album anyway. I think he did do maybe a couple of things after that, I can't remember, but yeah, it was in Abbey Road, which is obviously just an amazing backdrop for filming, so it was really special to just go in there and just kind of film the process. And yeah, it felt like a real family thing, that all of we were all there, and me and my sister sang some backing vocals on one song. Malcolm was involved a lot, and Corin they played drums on a few songs. So it felt like a real kind of family thing.
You also filmed the documentary on the tribute concert, right? The year after your dad's passing.
Yeah, so that was that was really tricky because we started planning that so soon after he passed. And my sister was incredible, my mom was incredible, that they were just like, this is something we need to do and it takes this long to plan it. So they were just like on it. Whereas I was kind of just in bits about the whole thing. I sort of cared for my dad a lot at the end and stuff. So it took me, I don't know, I was just like, I couldn't get my head around any of that stuff really so early on. But they were incredible how well they organized it. It was at the Roundhouse, which is this beautiful venue in Camden in London. It's a big circle, as the name suggests. And yeah, it was an incredible evening. There were all sorts of people there, and my sister sang 2 songs. I sang a song, and I also oversaw the filming of the whole event with a company called Beatcast. Matt Francis was amazing with that because he was really supportive he's an expert in filming live events. So it was really collaborative with the technical side, and if you're sort of performing as well and trying to get all that stuff organized and going on, then he was really in charge of a lot of the filming, but he really let me have my input in how it was all gonna be covered, and the edit as well. We worked really closely to put it together, but that was the first time I'd ever directed the filming of a live event, and it's quite a big deal because I was in charge of the projections on the back screen, and we had video messages from people and all sorts of technical stuff going on. So yeah, there was a lot to learn with that event, but it was really special.
So why, I don't hate to get down, but I do have one question. So I read that Ginger Baker at that concert, Sunshine of Your Love, he walked off stage. So what did he get pissed off about that?
This time.
This time, yeah.
Yeah, it was complicated because Nitin Sawhney was the musical director, and he's an amazing guy. Like the amount of stuff, he's like a film composer and also does a lot of his own directs live shows, but also does his own music, and he's just such a talented, amazing professional. So he was in charge of the actual direction of the show. With we had a lot to do with it, my sister and everybody sort of we were a part of that, but we did kind of respect what he, you know, that's what he does, and so we kind of let him do that. And I think it was quite difficult because Ginger didn't really want to rehearse or anything, which is fine. But I think there was a bit of trying to figure out how to work with him when he didn't want to kind of have any input in how it was going to go. He just sort of wanted to turn up and play, which was fine. Obviously, that's totally his prerogative. It's his songs, and he was the only person there, you know, from Cream. So even though it wasn't all Cream songs that we were celebrating, that obviously the songs he played on were, and we had some support with some other drummers, and it was quite a big live band, and obviously it was, he also wasn't feeling that well at that point, so we kind of had backup. And he has played with other drummers before, and he said he was all right with that. And Frankie Tonto, who was in my dad's band, was playing drums, and he was playing with him. And at some point, Ginger just decided that that's not how it should go. So he played one song beautifully. I think it was "We're Going Wrong." He played, I believe, with my sister Ruby Red, which was magical. And then when we did Sunshine, it was sort of like the big one where everyone comes on stage and everybody's playing, and we had like the backup drums and stuff, and he just wasn't having it, so he walked off. And even though a lot of people were upset, some of the reviews were like, you know, it should be about him, and it was, but also it kind of felt quite fitting as well, just because
yeah.
I have quite a lot of memories of that actually happening, even with my dad on stage, like when I was a kid and stuff. So it all felt quite meant to be, and part of the show, really.
We interviewed his daughter Nettie, and obviously he was a difficult person in many ways.
So your last feature film that you worked on, is that documented? Undocumented, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So I went to the London Film School, and I met an Iranian director. I mean, we were all students at the time, so we weren't really directors yet, called Amin Bakashi, and it was back when like illegal immigration wasn't really such a big topic, at least in Europe. Like, I guess in America, like the borders with Mexico is maybe more of a political issue earlier, right. I'm not sure, but in Europe there was just so much that I didn't really know about, and he told me these stories, and we just felt really passionate about making a film about it. And it took some years to make. It's a drama, and it's fiction, but we did a lot of research. So I mean, it was some of his own personal experience, but with me, I did a lot of research. I kind of sat in an immigration courtroom for 3 months, just watching what was happening, because for me, it was all just such a learning experience, and I didn't really want to make a film that was kind of criticizing a system that I didn't understand. So I took a long time to fully understand the situation. And over the time that it took for us to make it, actually, it became such a political, dividing topic. And it actually, by the time it came out in cinemas, it came out the day of Brexit happening. So I don't know if you know all about.
Yeah, we heard there's a lot of news about that when that went out. Yeah,
it's really a ridiculous situation, and but yeah, the UK decided to leave Europe, and it was going on for years, and it was like this debate, and it ended up symbolizing a lot about immigration for various reasons. But it came out and got a bit of traction because it was, that's what everyone was talking about at that point.
I only saw the trailer, but it looks very documentary style. It's very intimate, and it almost feels
intense.
Intense and voyeuristic in a way. I mean, it's so. Were those the people who lived the story, or did you hire actors to live?
Yeah, so we had a mix of actors and non-actors, but just in terms of, you know, heritage, the actors that we were casting, a lot of them had stories. If it wasn't about them, it was their parents, or, you know, some kind of experience to immigration, at least on some level, if not illegal immigration, which is what the film focuses on. But Amin shot in Iran, in the mountains, and his main actress, she had never acted before, and he got an incredible performance out of her. So yeah, it was a real mix, but it was really just finding people that we felt understood what we were trying to do, because it was very grassroots and low budget at the time. We finished it with a Kickstarter campaign, for example. And because we were so green, like grads fresh out of film school, we didn't really understand about distribution and funding, and that you're supposed to get the distributor on board before you shoot, and like all these kind of things. So it was like a second film school, really, to learn how to make a film. But I think it was kind of a blessing, because we didn't have any restrictions at all on what we wrote or shot, and it was very much, we just kind of wanted to hold up a mirror to what was going on at that time. We didn't want to like make it too political, and like you said, it was that's why it was such a documentary style, because it just suited what we were trying to do. And yeah, we were just really lucky, well, not lucky, it was a lot of hard work, but when it came out, we managed to get a distributor eventually on board, and now and we actually had a cinema release. Unfortunately, it was in March, just as COVID shut everything here, so we only did 3 screens, which was a bit of a kick in the teeth after all the years that it took to make the film. But we're glad that we at least got that little cinema release, and now it's on a lot of online platforms, and HBO Europe have just bought it, and yeah, it's, you know, it's on Amazon, so anyone can access it there. And we got really good reviews, which was very validating, because it kind of felt like we made it outside of the industry and we didn't really know what we were doing. And so to kind of get those good reviews from reputable sources was like, okay, it was worth it. It was all worth it. So it was nice.
Did you have any issues trying to film in other countries? Did you have to go to Iran to shoot?
Yeah, so basically I really wanted to go to shoot the section in Iran, but it ended up being too complicated, because even though I was a producer as well on the film, it's just tricky still to go out there for various reasons. And I decided in the end I'd actually be more of a hindrance than a help, because I couldn't really produce there because I wouldn't know what I was doing. I didn't speak the language. And actually the schedule in the end kind of clashed. So I was shooting in London while Amin was shooting in Iran. And there's basically 4 sections of the film, and he wrote and directed 2, and I wrote and directed 2. So it was very separate in that sense. And then we put it all together. So it's that, although I would love to have gone there, it was it just wasn't possible at the time. But the really difficult thing is that me and Amin haven't watched the film together since it was finished. So that we didn't, even when he finished shooting that last section, we haven't actually been in the same room, because he can't get a visa to come to the UK. So, you know, we've had a lot of, I don't know, just screenings and Q&As and awards and, you know, things like that. And he hasn't been able to attend any of them, unfortunately, because it all got much stricter. You know, there was a list of like 7 countries that you can't really travel from, and Iran is on that. So that's quite sad that we haven't managed to watch it together. But again, it's kind of telling of what the film was actually kind of about. You know, like he came to study, went to prestigious film school, you know, spent a lot on tuition fees, and now can't get a visa to come and visit, to watch his film in the cinema.
Yeah, reality intruded. Its ugly head.
So you've done shorts and you do commercials,
music videos too.
Do you have an agent to get you like work, or do you just they come to you?
Yeah, I don't at the moment. it's just kind of word of mouth, and I seem to be busy enough to not really need one yet, or I haven't found the right, because I'm like a really loyal person, sometimes to my detriment, and it's like the relationships that I start when they're good are like, I see as being lifetime relationships. Like my editor, for example, my director of photography, I can't imagine working with anybody else. So I haven't quite met that agent yet that I want to spend the rest of my life with. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of opportunities coming up, so that's fine.
You've done several videos with this group called Parafiction, right? So
yeah.
music video. What's your connection with them? Did they find you, or are you friends with them in the band? Or?
Yeah, that was actually my partner, Marek Shearer. He's a music producer and a mix engineer. He's doing a lot of big songs out here, pop songs. And it was a band that he was working with, and we basically have a studio in our flat in London. So they were just coming through all the time. And they just had this really young, cool energy that I really liked. And actually it was sort of, I don't know if lockdown had started yet, but the thing is with films, it's like there's such a long development process to actually make anything. And I was a camera operator first, like I made video art and stuff, but I was actually filming gigs. That was my first job, was filming gigs. They used to put me in the mosh pit at the front because they were like, oh, no one will hurt a girl, like stick right at the front. Excuse me. So I just kind of missed that immediacy of making stuff, because yeah, everything's so slow with feature films. So I just decided to get a camera and start shooting my own music videos. So those music videos, I guess, that you've seen on my website, I pretty much shot all of them, I think, and edited them myself. So that was kind of just like a fun side project to make something, basically.
You did one for your sister too, as well, right? The Forever Summer. You did it for her.
That one was actually directed by Ben Cohen, her now husband, but I edited it. But I have shot a lot of music videos for her in the past, like when she was starting out and I was starting out. It just made sense, and I think I learned a lot kind of practicing on her.
Yeah.
Vice versa as well.
So how did you detour? Or I shouldn't say, maybe it wasn't a detour, but the expectation would be you are musical, apparently, you sing and whatnot, but what was your interest in filmmaking? What drew you into that?
I mean, my dad was really into films. Like, I was really lucky with that because he was just so intelligent. Like, he just knew so much. Like, he read so much, he watched so much. He was an amazing cook. Like, he was just so talented in so many ways, but he knew a lot about film. So he introduced me to a lot of I guess left field films that most people wouldn't watch. He would buy DVDs and things that would probably not have come across otherwise. And even like on a Sunday afternoon, not anymore. Back in the day when there was like 4 channels in the UK, 4 TV channels, there'd always be like a black and white film on like 3 p.m. on a Sunday or whatever, and he'd just walk past and be like, oh, that's blah blah blah, and it was directed like by blah blah blah, and that's all the actors. And I was just like, how do you retain so much information? So he was definitely an influence. But I went to art school in Glasgow, actually, where my dad was from as well. And I mean, I was just always really creative, like painting and making weird little sculptures and stuff when I was 5 already. So that was like the just the most comfortable place that I would be to go to art school. And my dad was really proud when I got into the Glasgow School of Art, because it's quite it's a difficult one to get into in the UK, and obviously it was where he was from, so he was really happy about that. And it was nice to kind of go back to the roots and see what it was like, and find out what Glasgow is. And my partner I met then as well, who is also Glaswegian, so that's continuing. But yeah, I basically made video art. I think I was like making print work and stuff. And then one of my tutors said your research photographs is like the best part of your work. And then when I picked up a film camera, it all kind of fell into place, which was in the last year at art school. And I basically made installations about derelict spaces in the city. So I just kind of broke into boarded up buildings and filmed inside, and made installations about that. And then I did a short film course in the last summer before I graduated, and that was just like, I just got the bug, and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. They gave us like 16mm film cameras, and it was awesome. So then after that, I tried to get into the industry for a while, which was really, really tough. I was running and working for free and doing also, I tried, because I could edit, I taught myself editing, I could camera operate, I was kind of trying everything, but didn't really I really struggled to kind of get in there. So that's when I decided to do my filmmaking masters at the London Film School, and that was really a game changer, because my graduation film did quite well, and that gave me the confidence to be like, okay, this is what I want to do.
The techies out there, what program? Final Cut Pro, Premiere? What do you prefer? What's your?
I'm on Premiere now, just because I learned on Final Cut, and Final Cut isn't Final Cut anymore. Or the last time I tried it, I'm like, what happened? And actually, Premiere is closer to, I feel like, what Final Cut used to be like. And because I never really had any training, it was all just whatever's the most intuitive. It's like, this is what I want to do. How do I do it? But with my fiction films, I work with my editor, Reza Jose, and he works with Avid. He loves Avid. Yeah. So.
Is that what you use for special effects? Do you have a program for that? Like I saw the kaleidoscope effects.
Yeah, well, no, that was After Effects. I taught myself After Effects. That was like my little side project a couple of years ago. I was just like, I want to figure out how to do.
Chase has done, what are the extensions for?
I did templates, and there was a business I was selling special effects for After Effects. I made like 3,300 templates, and I sold them to video, broadcast designers, because it saved them a lot of time. If it was a particle effect or whatever, I make 100 variations for $100, and they could pick one and they could like alter it a little bit for themselves, but it saved them a lot of time.
Yeah. I've probably used those templates for stuff that you made, the particle template and stuff. I mean, I think because I always wanted to learn After Effects, but it just looked so hard. Like, I was always really into the idea of animation, and I can remember when I was at art school, I wanted to learn how to do that, but there wasn't really the resources at that school to do any of that stuff, other than like literal, draw a picture and take a photo of each frame or whatever. And then when I started on Premiere, and I learned that it's like linked to After Effects, so you can just kind of have my project
templates work in Premiere too.
Yeah. Even though my whole workflow was a mess the first time, it was like going back and forward so many times, but somehow it can handle it. Like the technology now is crazy, and you like, if you don't know how to do something, you can watch a YouTube video of like a 14-year-old that knows a 12-year-old. Do you know what I mean? That knows so much more. So it's like, if they can do it, I can do it.
We have a few minutes left, but I'd love to know, well, first of all, your website is KylaSimoneBruce.com, right? Kyla, Simone with an E at the end, SimoneBruce.com. And so what's your dream project, like 5 years from now?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask too.
Oh, okay, so we're a brother. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, TV is doing great stuff. I always saw myself as a filmmaker more than than TV, but that's just because of what the TV was kind of like. And now, obviously the US started that with the sort of big budget stuff on TV, but there's just some really cool things being made, and that is, there's more of an audience on TV, even though like that's, for me, going to the cinema is like my favorite thing to do. There's always magic in that. But I'm writing a TV series at the moment. So yeah, the dream would be to make that one, I think, and get it to a wider audience. But just keep making work, really. Like each film is just to be able to kind of make the next one. Like Undocument is very realist. It's very serious. It's very kind of slow and reflective. But that's what that subject needed. And my next film that I'm hopefully making the cockatoo in it's essentially a comedy. It's like a road movie with two girls in their early 20s. And it's a lot of fun, even though there's like a deeper, there's a lot of deeper stuff going on. She gives her baby away for adoption, and it's her kind of dealing with that. But I feel like at least the tone has like developed a bit with the stuff that I kind of want to make. Like, I don't want to take things too seriously, because especially with feature films, it's a long project. So it's like, I feel, even though I think there's always going to be a bit, not political, but a humanist, I would say, like slant to my work. That's, I think, what connects me emotionally and why I want to make that kind of work. But yeah, the next film I think will be more fun, more fun to watch and make. So I'm excited about that one.
Speaking of fun, I just want to add one very silly question. So in one of the Parafiction Diabolical Twins music video, they're walking or dancing around in this giant pair of pants. Whose idea was that? Where those pants come from?
That was their idea, and I just loved it. I mean, this with them, what I really did, because they were so young, I was just like, whatever their ideas are, I'm just gonna kind of make it happen. And we just had a really fun time, because they had a real vision for what their music was and the visuals that they wanted. So I just wanted to support that. And it was just fun being involved in like such a young project, and also them being so excited about how it looked. It's like this immediate gratitude that you don't really get. And sometimes as a creative, you kind of need a little bit of like, yay, it's good.
Yeah.
And it was just really fun, because they were, so young and cool, and it was punk, and I love punk music, and it was very fun, like collaborating with them, definitely.
Trace, any final parting thoughts?
No.
Okay.
So that one last thing I want to say, that film, sure. Cockatoo in, I made a short film called Mercury, which I think is going to be online to watch for free. It's on Shorts TV at the moment, but I think it's going to be online soon. I guess I'll put it on my website when it comes out, but that's the short that the writer's Gorana Jovanovic is a Serbian writer. We collaborated on that, and we're making the feature together. But it's based on that short. So if anybody's interested, then they can find that. It's called Mercury.
Shorts TV, is that a streaming?
It is. I'm not 100% sure if it's in America or if it's just a European thing. So, but what I'll once, I think it's going to be more available than that. Like once it's had its sort of run with them, then I can just put it online, I think. So that should be happening soon, and I'll have a link on my website if anyone's interested to watch it.
Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Fascinating to learn about you, and we could keep on talking about. There's a lot of things. I mean, it seems like your sister and you both have this empathy for things that are happening to people. The
social conscience.
Yeah. Social conscience. Is that something your parents are into as well?
That was a big influence from my dad. Yeah, he was. His parents were like communists in a time that was basically illegal, and he, was very like staunch, at least socialist. I think it was quite conflicting for him when he became successful and, could drive fancy cars and stuff. I think he always really struggled with that, even though he enjoyed it. It was definitely an inner struggle. And he always just taught us, about what was going on in the world, and, how to just empathize, I think, with what other people are going through, and help other people when you can. And I think that definitely, I mean, for me, a film, it feels like it needs to be worth making and somehow will have a positive impact on the world. Might sound a bit naive to think like a film can change the world, but it at least then feels like it's something worth.
Everything, everything counts. I mean, it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very hopeful, and I know we both agree. We try to do that in our own work. But thank you so much.
Yes, thanks again.
Nice one. It was lovely to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Sure.
Pleasure.
And Happy New Year when it comes.
Oh, you too.